All right, we'll get started here in a second. We should be live on there. Let me make sure this gets up to going. Do do do. Okay, it says we are streaming live. Let me close this out so we get feedback. There we go. All right, where is everybody? Here's my Zoom. There we go. Let's go ahead and hit record, Albia, and we can start letting people in.
Okay.
Record. All right. Happy Tuesday. I don't know how long I'm going to make it with this voice of mine. I've lost my voice. Hopefully it's back, but the more I talk, the worse it gets. So we will do my best. We will get started here in just a second. Let me get everything set up on the other side. Albie is letting people in. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can always go back into the school community and watch the replay or get the link. And then if you are watching this after the fact, well, then you don't get to ask questions. So got two deals I want to go through. If you guys got a deal that you want to use in the model, then raise your hand. If you have, I'll go through the deals. We've done a lot of deals in the past where they're pretty straightforward. I want to show you a couple things that I want to show you two different deals today. One that looks like a deal and turned out not to be a deal, and another deal that didn't look like a deal and could be a deal. So, and plus whatever else you guys got. So, let's see here. And then when Michael gets here, Elvia, let me know if I don't see him pop in because I want to make sure I want to bring him on and we're going to talk about some other stuff too. So let me get to my screen over here. Give me 1 second and we will get this party started. Does anybody got any questions or have any thing they want to share before we actually get into the into the deal? And if not, you can always add it in the chat and we can look at it from there as well. So let's see here. All right, let me pull up my deal evaluator here and close a couple of these extra windows down. And I'm going to share my screen and we will get going so I can see. I'm only using one monitor today, so things are a little bit of a luggy thing. All right, let me go to my screen share here. Give me 1 second. Let me go pull this one up. And let's go. I guess we'll start with this one first. Okay, let's see here. Let's grab my screen. See, let's see. We gotta open, I gotta minimize, I gotta open, and here we go. Share. All right, Elvia, let me know that you can see my screen. Okay, and then if you can see deal evaluator, we'll get right into it.
Yep.
All right, awesome. All right, super. Guys, any questions as we go along? We'll wait till we get through the model, and if you have any questions specifically to the model, we can before we go to the next one or somebody else's deal, we'll clear those questions. So you can ask them in the chat, and or you can raise your hand, and we can address them in the end. So let's get right into it. So this deal right here, here it is right here. It's in Houston, 1510 City Lake. This is an interesting deal because, well, you'll see here in a second. Let me just show you. So here it is right here. It's got a $390,000 value, give or take about $2,900. I think it's a little high on rent. We want to use rent, and I'm going to explain to you because we just we have a hedge fund now that we're able to provide creative financing deals to. And this one may very easily go to them. So we'll talk about that as we go along, on how you guys can actually outsource deals. I'll even show you the press release that we have here after we go through this here. So just another potential exit on deals. Guys, most of you guys should be using the software to analyze deals, structure deals, and get paid on them. You guys should not be probably staying in these deals for cash flow and cash later, unless you have access to the capital, either personally or cheaper capital, because it's just if you got to go borrow this gap, it's just extremely expensive, and you're better off um, taking 5 or 10 of these deals, flipping them to other investors like the hedge funds, then using your own capital that you bring in on this, and I'll explain it here in a second, and then go do your own deal, okay? Because then you don't have to pay 16, 18% money and have to have all that extra holding costs. So let's just get into this deal. And let's see if this is a deal now. So this is a subject to deal, okay? So this has an unpaid principal balance of 243,000. Remember this, I've already put this in for speed over here on the left side. So if you want to know what this looks like, we have cash to the agent. There's an agent involved, about 3% is $8,000. Wholesaler assignment fee, $7,000. 4,500 in closing costs. Cash to seller, $65,000. They have a tremendous amount of equity in this deal and they wanted all of it out. So here's the actual terms of the deal. It's got an unpaid principal balance of 243, PITI 2016, principal and interest 1028. Look at this interest rate, 2.25% with 314 months remaining. So with this kind of a deal, these are really, really hard not to figure out how to monetize. Whether you can afford it to do it yourself or you have to put a fee on it and assign it, it's really a personal choice. So let's just see if the numbers make sense, okay? So as we go through this, and we're gonna pull this up here in a second. Let me copy this real quick. Let me go to the next screen real quick. I left it the way that they're looking at it first because this is going to be the key right here. This is where understanding how the software works can help you get deals that you may not be able to do yourself. They want $65,000. So remember that number because I'm going to come back and we're going to see how we can maybe push some of the $65,000 from cash now to a more of a hybrid model where they'll take it over payments and we're gonna have to sweeten the deal. So let's see if the deal works first, the way that it's structured, okay? So let's go to the next screen here. $380,000 in Houston. We have to still look at the flood information. We got $38,000 down. I created it as one note because I knew I was gonna go back and forth on this. Just much easier to avoid mistakes. Typically, I'll do two at the end, but for the initial evaluation, I'm just going to use one note. It doesn't change anything. My rate, my term is the same. It just saves me a calculation in here. So I got one lien wrap. I got a first lien mortgage of 342. I got 9% rate, which is probably a little bit high. That's okay. We'll get through it and see. And here's the payment coming in, and that's the terms of the deal. So right now, we have a total acquisition cost of $84,000, total cost basis of 328, and a sales price on this property of close to the 385, okay? Actually, it's 380 is what it is, okay? So now let's get into the funding side of this because now we know we have to come up with cash to do this deal, okay? This is a hybrid deal. Some cash now, some cash later, some cash flow. So if I leave it at $84,500, okay, with the amount of money that's in here, it shows a negative cash flow on 60 months of negative $331. How many people are going to be able to cash flow negative $331? The way it's set up right now. Excuse me, I got a cough. Sorry, I got this itch. I'm trying to get rid of it. But does that mean it's not a good deal? Because you guys, I wanted to show you this to you right here because this is where a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not a deal." It's not a deal as it sits right now. Okay, doesn't mean it can't be adjusted. And negative $331 in cash flow doesn't mean you're losing $331. It just means you got to invest $331 into this deal if you want the back end projection on it. So let's just see what that looks like. Okay, I put 16%. I put in here 60 months because that's my typical default. But let's just go to the back end. Okay, I'm going to solve it for 10 years. That's what I like to use. Look at this, guys. It's almost $250,000 in perpetuity. Okay. But you're negative cash flowing it for the first 60 months because you have that expensive capital of $331. Well, let's just say you were using your own money, for example, or let's say you got grandma money or something else like that. And you could do this at 10%. I don't know. Let's solve it and see what happens. If you could borrow at 10%, it goes down to $72. If you could go down 10% and go to 6 years, let's go to 72 months. think it's pretty close to break even, let's say. Yeah, it's positive cash flow. So if you had 10% money and you could leverage it for 6 years, it changed the whole dynamics of this deal. Now let's see what the back end looks like. Okay. This is why the software is so powerful to play these what if scenarios. Because just because I need 16%, I got to borrow at 16% doesn't mean you have to borrow at 16%. You might be sitting on IRA money and say, well, I'll just put it in the IRA money and pay my IRA 10%. There's probably $3 trillion right now sitting in IRAs collecting dust. $3 trillion, trillion with the T. Don't even know how many zeros that is. Okay. I think it's 1,000 billion. I'm not even sure what that. I don't even know. Somebody can maybe put it in the chat. How many billions is in a trillion? Like, is it 100? Is it 1,000 trillion? 1,000 billion a trillion? I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot of money sitting in IRAs that is collecting 0% interest. You just gotta go find it. That's not what we do. Okay. We have people that come into the community and talk about it, but this is what you need to do. Okay. So let's go through the rest of this number. Now, let me go to the last screen. Let's keep it at 120. It's still, look at it. Look at the profitability on that deal. It went up because the interest rate went down. We don't have to pay as much in interest expense. Guys, this is a solid deal, okay? If you can figure out how to solve it financially, okay? So one way is to 10%, okay? But I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it back to 16%. Because that's what most people have. I'm going to leave it at 60 months. I'm going to go show you the other adjustment. Okay. Guys, this is what people don't do. They don't understand this. I'm telling you, by using this and leveraging these numbers, this is what we did. I think, I don't know if Mark's on the call. This is exactly what we did on the one that we did about 6 months ago on Biles in Gerald, Texas. We got the seller to change the terms of the deal. As everything changed and all these things adjusted, it became a good deal for us, and the seller said yes. So now we got a problem right here. We got a $331,000 negative cash flow on there that we would have to come out of pocket. So there's only a couple things that we can adjust that I would recommend adjusting. So let's go back to the beginning here for a second, okay? I'm gonna go back here. I can't adjust this. Could I adjust cash to agent? Yes. Could I adjust the wholesaler fee? Yeah, it's not really that much. You can't adjust closing costs. Okay. Could I adjust the cash to seller? Absolutely. So what if we did this? What if we said we'll give the seller, I'm just gonna split the difference right now. I'm gonna give them $35,000 cash now. Let's see if I can solve it. Hang on one second. I got everybody trying to pop in to get on this call. $35,000 now. But what I'm going to do, they want 65,000. I'm just going to sweeten the deal. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to add another loan. Okay. But instead of giving them 30, I'm going to give them 50. I just want to play with the math and see. I'm going to give them more money because they're willing to do it. Okay. And this doesn't matter. I'm just going to put this in here for right now. Let's just see. I'm going to leave it at 0%. Let's put it on 360. Let me solve this. Let me just see what it solves at first. We can balloon it later. What does that come out? $138 a month. Okay, let's leave it there. Okay, so what did I do here? Go back up here. They wanted 65,000. I'm giving them 35 today. So now my cost basis went down. Remember, it was like 86. Now it's 54. Means I'm going to have to borrow less money. I'm going to pay less interest. And I'm giving them more money because I'm getting them to carry the balance. So now I'm giving them 85,000 instead of 65. Okay, got to sweeten the deal, otherwise they're going to say no. So I'm going to solve it first, and then because they might come back and go, I need to do it in 10 years. If that's the case, we'll figure it out. So what does this look like? I'm just going to leave it at this. I'm not going to. Let's go. The next thing I want to do is go to the funding side of it. Nothing else is going to change here. Okay, we just added another payment, and I'm going to go back in here. My sales isn't going to change. Go back to here. This is going to change because my cost basis is acquisition is only 54 now. Now when I solve this at 16% in 60 months, now it's 258. Okay, well, I don't need 258. I'm just trying to get the cash neutral. So now now what I can come back and do is I just go back over here. And now what I'm going to come over here and do is I got 258 plus second loan. So I'm going to offer them $400 a month in payments. Okay. So I'm going to give them 400 a month. And that now I'm going to solve for this term. Now it's 125 months. I'm going to change this right here. So basically, if they give me seller carryback at $400 a month on $50,000, I will have them pay back in basically 10 years. It just coincidentally happened that way. So I'm going to leave it there. So let's look at this now. I'm going to go back to my acquisition funding and see how close I am. Now I'm only negative. Dude, I don't make this stuff up, but I've done this enough time. I can sort of figure it out in my head. This is basically a cash neutral deal. Okay. Now, why would we want to do this? Well, we can do it because now we can get into this deal for zero cash flow for the next 5 years. Let's go to that again and see what happens on the profit analysis. See what our numbers are. Okay. It went down a little bit, but now it's a deal. Now it's a deal because I'm cash neutral for 5 years, get a little bit of cash up front. I gave the seller what they want. I gave more than what they want if they agree to that. And that's it. So this is how I just changed the deal. So let's just say, could I make the deal even stronger? Look, what is our number that we want this to be in 10 years? Minimum, $100,000 payday, right? This is over two times that amount. So if I could solve this number down to be 150, would that still be a good deal? Absolutely. So I have a little bit of wiggle room here. What is the wiggle room? Well, I can come over here and I can go back over here and I can start negotiating this number right here. I can change it. Maybe I only want to give the seller $30,000. Okay, cash the seller, but I'm going to give them, I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to go a little crazy here. I'm going to put 75,000. I'm gonna give this to make this $75,000. Okay. So I got to resolve it again. How many months does that come out to be? It goes up to 188, leaving the $400 a month still there. Go back and solve it. Okay. Go back to my oops, give me one second. I can change this to 188. Go back to my acquisition funding. Okay. None of this, the sale price isn't changing. No, that's not a variable. We're not changing that. Come back to your third party. I'm going to resolve it here again. Now it's positive cash flow 119. Why did it go up? I'm actually, my cost basis is now 368. When we first started, it was only 325. So my cost basis is going up, but my profitability is actually getting better. Why is that? Well, it's real simple because I'm trading. This number is going lower, so I'm borrowing less money at a higher interest rate, and I'm putting it into a 0% seller carryback. I'm trying to divert. So when you understand amortization and how it works, it's not linear. It's not dollar for dollar. When I'm paying 0%, I could probably pay 2 to 3 times that amount basis that. I don't have to run the math on it. It's significant. So now guess what I got? I got another $119 a month. I can go back over here to property purchase. And now I'm going to change this to $500 a month because now it becomes a little bit more attractive. I'm at $500 a month here. Let me solve the term. Now it's 150 months, about 12 years. Excuse me. Go to next. Always go back and forth here. You solve it again here. Perfect. So we've got 3 different scenarios here. Hang on one second for me, guys. Coffee here. All right. So I like this deal a lot because let's go back to the initial thing. Now, before we do that, let's look at the profit analysis. Didn't hardly change at all. Maybe a few dollars. Hang on one second. I got to cough again. Sorry, guys. All right, so go back. So my point on all this, okay? If you remember the original deal, and I know it's a little confusing because I'm only sharing one screen, but here's what I want you to understand. I'm giving the seller $35,000 less cash today, and I'm having them in this example carry a $75,000 note at $500 a month. That's what this means. So in theory, they're getting the 35,000, excuse me, the 30,000 plus 75. So they're getting $105,000 instead of 65,000. They're getting $40,000 more for their property by becoming, a lending partner in this transaction. We're replacing our expensive gap funding money and putting the seller into place. Okay. And you don't know unless you ask. Will they do it? I don't know. You don't know. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Depends on what they're going to do with the money. But this may be the only way that this deal works for us. Because if we can't get the cost basis down, then we can't do anything on the exit. Okay. Because we're not in a cash neutral position. We're not their buyer. They'll have to go sell at retail. Okay. So this is what I would do with this. So this is a little bit different model than what we had, because you're not going to get anybody to write a check for $300 a month. Likely, even though the back end is over $200,000. Okay. So, this is where I would structure this deal at if that was me. Okay. This is where I would structure it to be if I was going to keep it. If we go back to the other model, then and we'll talk about the hedge funds in a bit. For it to work for the hedge funds in the certain markets, and I'll share that here in a minute, is that it's got a cash flow as a rental. Okay. It's got to or at least be cash neutral as a rental. They're playing it on the appreciation side. I'll show that here when we get to it in a second, but I don't want to commingle this particular deal. So, does anybody have any questions on it? Let me check the chat real quick.
Nick,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was
thanks, John. 1,000 billion is equal to a trillion. That's a lot of effing money. I mean, just sitting there. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I love the exit strategy to flip it over to hedge fund too. I do too, Cindy. If it's in the right market and you find the right property, 100%. Jim says he's got a deal evaluate. Great. Jim, we'll get to that in a second. Jim, make sure you have your model pulled up so I can give you screen share and let you drive that through. Okay. Yeah. Francisco saying, hey, let's do some deals together. Great. Reach out to Francisco. He put his information. If it works out, great. I'm not endorsing Francisco. I don't know Francisco, but that's for you guys to determine. Okay. Let's see here. I put it in there again. Yeah, Mike, I'm gonna bring Michael on here in a second. Um, yeah, to sign up for those other calls. So I am gonna stop sharing for right now. And then I am gonna stop sharing and see what we have here. So Jim, if you want to get your stuff ready, I'm gonna go to Michael right now. And when I'm done with Michael, I'm gonna share the hedge fund information. And then I'm gonna go back to Jim's model. And if we have any time left, we can do Q&A. All right. All right. So there's Michael here. What's up, Michael? Can you hear me
sorry.
okay?
I was actually on the phone closing another deal, which is why I was a little late.
Well, I guess you're excused then. What's up, dude?
Not much. You still trying to get your voice back, huh?
It's getting worse and worse. The more I talk, the worse it gets. It's freaking,
Well, I'm
I can't
excited to
sit here
talk
and
to you
get
about a
congested.
victory that we have.
Yeah. So guys, Michael is part of the community. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to show the school here in a second. Okay. We're sort of dividing and conquering. So I'm going to still continue to do um, the deal evaluator stuff. Okay. Um, and what we just got done doing. But Michael is really good at other things. Okay. The stuff that I did talk about. So Michael, tell the group real quick for the people that are on the call, like what you're doing inside the community to help them get more deals, either acquired, disposition, stuff like that. Just give, because some people only show up for the deal or no deal and they don't even know this is other stuff because it's just so much information out there. So take two
Yeah,
minutes
guys,
and explain what that
I,
is.
I've almost been doing this for almost 10 years now. I've literally worked on thousands of contracts, talked to thousands of sellers. I've taught thousands of people like yourself. I am focused on the analyzing, negotiation, contracting, and then helping with the monetization of the deals. If you do not don't underestimate how much effort is put into the psychology of getting a seller to go from no to yes. Nick covered some of that just now on the numbers point of view. But that's great if you have the numbers, but if you don't know how to say it or what to say or how to communicate it, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. And that's what I'm focused on, sharing real life examples every Wednesday, talking about how you get from no to yes, answering your questions, and making it so that you're filling in that major gap of, yeah, it's great that we're talking about how to run the numbers on a deal, but how do you get to that point where you're able to run numbers on a deal? And that's what we focus on. You're on mute, Nick.
So I'm going to pull up the community real quick. Give me 1 second here. Let's see.
And Francisco, if that message was aimed at me that you sent me a deal 2 weeks ago, guys, I'm just going to be upfront with you. I get about 100 emails and texts a day. If you email me or you text me and I don't respond, it does not hurt my feelings if you follow up with me the next day. I promise you, I'm not doing it on purpose. In fact, the last 24 hours, Apple and Microsoft Outlook have not been working together. There's been an outage. So please always just follow up with me. I promise I'm not ignoring you.
Well, and use the communication inside of school. That's why
Yeah,
it's there,
message me.
right? So when I was looking up the thing, did you talk about the deal that you guys just that you wrapping up with John? Did you talk about that
No,
at all?
we were about to, I haven't talked about that with the group yet.
All right, well, you want to share
We're going
that
to do
real
that
quick?
tomorrow.
Okay, but I don't mean you need to share the details on it, but I was talking about relative to what we've done outside of that. That's my point is, it isn't a deal like this, the one we just did. It's a different
Yep.
kind of deal, right? Was it just a straight wholesale deal?
Well, and John was awesome. John, and I said this to John, and it was very interesting. He had said something to the effect of, I said, never count your chickens until they've hatched. And he said, yeah, well, something, and nothing against John. I don't mean this in a negative way. He's like, well, yeah, I said, John, there's no such thing as a normal deal. There's no such thing as a deal that doesn't have hiccups. That doesn't. And he's like, you know what? You're right. You look at all the hiccups. We had a willing seller. I got us a willing buyer. We had the title company that was ready to go. And then some of the things that we ran into is, well, after we signed the contract, then the seller was still getting other calls. And he was like, well, I can make more money with other people. So I had to step in very nicely, but let's just say remind him of the legal reasons why that would not go well for him. Brought him back in line. Now we're ready to close. Oh, we can't close. Come to find out, the builder's lien from 2 closings ago wasn't released. So we had a delay of 3 weeks. I had to keep my seller ready to go and primed and not walk away. We had to work with buyer. We had to work with the seller to make sure that he was motivated to do it. And that's the whole thing of what I say when sometimes the easiest part is getting it under contract. There's a lot of moving pieces to make this stuff actually happen. And that's one of the areas where when you JV with me, you've got me every step of the way.
Yeah, so let me pull up school real quick here, Michael, okay? Just so we can, because I want to get back to the other stuff. So guys, you guys should be in the school. If you're not, just go look at it and see if it's there. So we have it all in here, but like on the calendar, let's see, I don't know, we're adding new stuff all the time. We had someone coming in on LinkedIn on how to use LinkedIn for private, to raise private capital. I don't know if anybody was on the call yesterday. We didn't get into very much detail on on the raising private capital, but that's exactly what they're going to do in here. So if we go to the calendar, so we're here, we got the deal or no deal now, we got Inner Circle coming up like tomorrow. This is what Michael was talking about. So guys, here it is. Go register, go do it. And it's another call specifically on doing other stuff. Like next week we have on Tuesday, we got a power hour with 3 attorneys. We've got this added for our community at no cost to go in and actually do this, okay? So, guys, you don't want to miss it. You got Mark Sessoms, John Gottweiler, and Alan all speaking on a Zoom call. Ask questions. I mean, this stuff is so valuable. I can't even explain the value in it. So we have other stuff coming in, and we got Rap University. We got Alan doing Rap. I don't know why my picture's on there. Hell, get rid of that. That should be Alan's, not mine. But whatever. And it's all right here. All the classrooms, we're adding new stuff in here. in here, go through this stuff. Michael's, did you add your, does this,
We did. We did upload the 3-day challenges upload. There it is right there.
there it is right here. So guys were asking about the master class. Well, here it is right here. You can go in here. There's day 1, day 2, day 3. Okay. You got it right here. So good, you guys use this stuff. And you have a whole community right here that you can communicate with, write something and ask for help. People will join in, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So that's all. I don't want to take any more time on it. It's not a sales. This is not a sales call. This is a teaching call. But I want to make sure you guys are using the tools that are there for you. Because that's why we put them together. I mean, they're for you, not for me. I don't need any of this stuff. Okay.
I will just leave with this one thing, Nick. Guys, I've been doing this almost 10 years. I got the first couple of deals. I got greedy. I tried to do it by myself. I got 0 deals. For the last 9 years straight, I have JV'd on 100% of my deals, and I make infinitely more money, and I'm infinitely more successful for it.
All right. Exactly. All right. So, Jim, are you ready to share your deal?
Yeah, so just hit share on the screen here.
Yeah, you should be good to go. Thanks, Michael.
Okay. Let me know when you can see me.
Yeah, you are good to go.
Let me shrink this down here. Okay. Get that out of the way. So you can see that?
Yep, sure can.
Okay, so this one's in Orlando Metro. It's an expired listing, VA loan. They had it for sale for 318 for a few months, didn't sell. So we'll just go through this. Be a subject to, that's the unpaid balance right
Hey,
here.
you want to make your screen just a little bit bigger because I know some people might be watching it. Just make it so we might have to move it around a little bit, but just
Like so.
yeah. I that's good for me. It's hopefully I got a pretty big monitor, but just making sure. Okay, perfect. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so there's the unpaid balance. I got closing costs. I just put in 5 grand.
Are you
50,
direct to buyer on this one or is it on market, did you say?
say that again?
So you said it was an expired listing. So are you direct to seller on this or are you still using the agent?
Yeah, I talked to her last Wednesday. She's got
Who's
a friend
who's
now,
she? The agent or the seller? I'm just trying to
the
clarify.
seller.
Okay, so you're direct to seller now. Okay,
Yep,
got it.
yep.
Okay.
I had 15 in for closing costs or for just for holding, and then cash to seller to 60. But based on what you said on that last deal, I can kind of tweak that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even, I would,
2.75.
you can even say, I can't pay you your money until we do something with the property. So you could defer, you could set it up when you write that note to her to stop, make the first payment 6 months from now. Make a difference. You can do whatever you want.
Hmm.
You don't have to start paying tomorrow is my point. Okay.
Right.
So just keep going. Okay, good. So you got three,
Okay.
2 1/4, I mean, 2 3/4. That's good.
Yep. 329 left. Okay, so 325 sales price, maybe that's a little high.
Well, we'll see what it says here in a second. Okay.
Yeah,
Got two
okay.
leads in there. We got 8%.
I
Okay.
hit it at 8. Yep.
Just do me a favor, Jim, and go back on that screen and just solve for those. I just want to make sure they solve. Go down. Just
Okay.
solve the payment, make sure they don't change or anything. Okay.
Yep.
Sometimes people go change things and they forgot that we got to resolve them as we go along.
Okay. So this would be
Right.
third party. I've got a buddy who probably would lend me money at 8%, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, if you got the money, then you borrow it there. Now you have 360 months in the term. Are you gonna want to keep it out that long? Are you gonna try to, what I would personally do, and I mean, I would like to get rid of, well, that's cheap debt. So if he'll give you 8% for 30 years, that's fine. That's a long time, but I would probably
Okay.
solve it to a shorter term. Like get
Okay.
rid of it. It's not expensive debt, but it gets you to the bottom line a little faster. So
Okay.
I
You
would
want me to change
just
that?
for argument's sake, I would solve it term and get you to your cash neutral number. What does
Okay.
that come up with? It's even probably going to be probably 48 months maybe.
48.
I don't know. Just gotta keep playing with them and say, oh, it's not. So it's not less more than that. Okay. Oh, because you got $80,000 in there still. I got it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's leave it at that for right now. 10 years.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Keep going. 117, not bad. Okay. So, I mean, it's a big number on the acquisition side. Personally, I would want to keep my seller involved in that a little bit and leverage it because they might take 3%,
Right.
4%. What if you could take all that? What if you could take some cash now, some later and say, hey, do you want to be my lender on the other $50,000 at 3%? I put zero in the last one
Hmm.
because I can always go up. I'm much more easier to go up than it is to go down. So I just resolve it. Like you can play around with the math on it and go, okay, well, if you want 3%, then I need 15 years to pay you back. Okay. And I can pay you
Right.
200 a month or whatever the number is. It
Okay.
takes 2 seconds to hit the number, hit recalculate. It tells you it resolves everything. So I do like the monthly recurring revenue. That's a good number. Um, I would not do this deal unless you know that you have the private money locked up at that rate. You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
you don't have it or you think you can get it, I would sell it for worst case scenario.
Right.
Or
Okay.
just, or, don't close on it until then. But you're not gonna be able to close on it anyway unless you have the money because that's how you're gonna fund the deal. So the worst thing you would do is that you'd end up, um, not executing on the contract and paying whatever the fee is or losing your earnest money or whatever. So let's do this. Why don't we go? I want to go in. Do you have any questions on this? I want to go see this property value wise, condition wise, uh, you
Okay.
know, stuff like that.
Go to like Realtor. I have it.
Yeah, I use realtor.com. So go ahead. So it's got $2,000 a month. What was the PITI on this right now? Well, you remember what it was?
1905.
Really? Okay. So, and what's it on? What's the realtor number? 1995. Okay. So is this a rental right now?
She's going back and forth between rental. I think she'd prefer to sell it, honestly, because she had it for sale for a couple months.
Is that the address right there?
Yep.
156?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, scroll down. Well, look, if she's willing to rent it for that, she'll definitely carry back the money. I mean, I guarantee it. She's
Yep.
renting it because she hasn't figured out a way to sell it yet, which is
Right.
fine.
Exactly.
100%. Okay, scroll down. Okay, keep going. Like this would be an absolutely perfect fit for the hedge fund model because she can take a future appreciation. And now I'm not saying this house will qualify for the hedge fund because of the location. I don't know. I have to look that up. But it would fit conceptually because she's got equity, she's got time on her side. So we'll probably do another call later this week on it because we're gonna run tight on time and I want to make sure I give you guys enough stuff on it. So this is perfectly fine. Is it a rental now? Is that her stuff? She living in it?
Uh, This was a second home for her. She lives in New York. She bought it
Okay.
during the pandemic, was going back and forth, and
So she
now
would sell it with all the furnishings and everything probably.
I didn't talk to her about the furnishings actually, but
I don't think she's
probably.
gonna want to give them. Okay, let's scroll down and see if there's got when it goes to the rental, it might change some of the other numbers in it. What's the
Yeah, it doesn't
environment?
have the
Yeah, because it's a rental.
price
Go back up there.
evaluations since it's
I'll
for
show you
rent.
where to go to get it. Go to environmental risk. Let's check environmental risk.
Okay.
Minimal. Okay, good. So if you go to, you can go to it directly. Let me see if I can find it on my screen.
Okay.
You can actually go to the valuation directly without on it on this page. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I have it bookmarked. I just gotta remember where I put it. Give me 1 second. Is it in
And I have the
here?
ZHVI here too, if you
All
need
right, why
that.
don't you show us the ZHVI real quick while we're waiting, while we're doing that. Let's see here. I'm trying to still find this other one real quick while I'm in here. I bookmarked it because there's a way you can get it direct because I can't remember what the name of it's called. Give me 1 second here. Let me just check one
Okay.
thing. Go to another property here. This is the one I just did on. You see something here. I'll give it to you. I'll put it in the link. That way you can save it and not have to, if it doesn't show up, you can still get it. It
Okay.
is go on here, realtor.com. It's called the real, I think it's called the real. Here, we'll try it here. Let me find it here. Property, environmental risk, real estimate. I think if you go, is it? Yeah, here it is. Perfect. Is this it? I think. I'm just looking here for it. it could be, let's try this. Put this in the chat for everyone. You can bookmark this too. Let's see, Zoom chat. So use that. Let's see what this one is. What was the one I was just at? I think it's Real Estimate. It's called realestimate.com. Yeah, so if I go to Google, I think you can get to it from realestimate.com. I think you can go to Real Estimate. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, if you go to, let me copy this on here. I think this is it. Save this one too, guys. So here, I think it's that. If you go to realtor.com/myhome, I think that will get you there as well. So go to realtor.com/myhome, Jim, since you're sharing your screen. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Lost where you guys are. Let's see.
All right.
So I think go ahead and type an address at the top up there.
Why can't I get
Now, it might not pull it up because it's already listed as a rental, but I think there's still you can find it. Okay.
I just need to claim another home. Is that how I get it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. There it is right there. So it gives
Okay.
you the real estimate. So I mean just hit yes. I don't think it matters. It's not you're not listing it or anything. Let's just see what it says. I haven't seen this version of it yet. Great. Now scroll down. You got keep going up. Let's see here. Estimated. Okay, that's the thing. Real choice. No, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Try market value. Oh, that's it. Right there.
Oh, there
There's
it is.
real estimate right there. Okay. So if you don't find it through the other way, you save this and you can come through it like this.
Okay.
So now you got it right here. And actually, if you click on that, learn about real estimate data right there, I think that'll also pull up. I think you can, yeah, I think you can actually do it from here as well. I think. Go to my home, go up to the top where it says my home. Let's see if it lets you do it. I think it does the same thing. Okay.
Yep.
So you can go that way or that way. That
Okay.
way, if you guys get a property that doesn't show up, you at least have a way to show it. Still have a way to access it. Okay. All right. Didn't mean to get sidetracked, but I want to make sure people saw that so they can find that information. So go back. Where were we on the real flow on the real estimate? What was the number? You remember what it was? We left it too soon.
Are you talking about DHVI?
No, the real estimate. What's the real estimate number? That's what we just
Uh,
showed. Like that's the real estimate number three. Where's the core logic numbers? Just
oh,
use that one, Brandon. I think
yeah.
you already left the page.
Yep. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll
So
just say
you,
it's 310. Okay. So go ahead and go back, which is the HVI, that one right there. Yeah. So what is
yeah.
it right
Okay.
here? So 315
Uh,
is probably, I think it's probably 310 is probably the max number. I wouldn't go any higher than that. So let's use that
okay.
number. Now go to your ZHVI.
It's right here.
That's good, right? So now we know our property is below the median home point. Okay.
Right. Right.
It also says that the market is a little slow in that area. It's about 70 days on market. So you got to take that in consideration. You see where that is in the small print? See where it says no, go up underneath their 353 number. See that line right
Oh,
underneath
yeah.
it?
Yep. Yep.
70
Right
to
there.
69 days. Okay. Super important to know what the average days on market is. Okay. I mean, some are higher, some are lower. Also
Right.
depends on what the price point is and how good the property is and how desirable it is. All those things. Okay. So I like where the ZHPI number, the days on market's a little low. I want to take that into consideration. Obviously, we know already, it didn't sell because it's an expired listing and she turned it into a rental. So
Yep.
these are all things that help you negotiate with the seller. At the end of the day, if you can't cash flow it, no one else can cash flow it. So she's never
Yep.
going to sell the damn thing. Okay. If it's an
Yep.
investment property, like if this is in a community where most of these properties are rentals, well, then she has to look at it as the investor is going to be buying it, not a homeowner or a second homeowner. Okay.
Yep.
So let's go back to your model. I'm fine on all this stuff. Let's see what you had. What do you have in there as a price point? Go to your property sale.
I had 3.25, so bring that down a little bit.
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's probably okay at that rate. It's probably okay. I mean, I might change the price down to 310 and raise the rate to 8.5, which is probably a
Okay.
better deal, long money wise. But it's probably okay there. I mean, I wouldn't, it's probably fine. Okay. So let's go to, so what questions do you have up to this point right here? I'm a little concerned on why you have the private capital in there, but could you go find a financial partner and pay him all back first thing at 0%, get him all his cash back or give him a small interest rate and have him be on the back end of the deal and rev share that, create a first and a second note, give him one and keep the other one. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah,
Michael
and I
can help.
actually was on Mojo Michael's call last week, and I emailed him about this. So I'll reach out to him through school
Yeah.
and
Or
about
reach
per.
out to him, go or show up tomorrow and go back through it. So, um, let me, I'm gonna check one thing here real quick. Give me 1 second. I don't think, I don't think Orlando is in, let me look at this real quick. See if I don't think Florida's a crappy area because of taxes. I mean, I'm sorry, insurance. Yeah, so these are not, so I'm gonna give, these are not, no, I don't have it. But if this deal, I'm gonna put these in the chat real quick. And we're gonna do another call specifically on this. Um, dang it, hang on. Trying to do this at with one hand here. Let's see. We'll do another call on it, but I'm gonna put the markets right here in the chat. Let me try to get rid of this here. Like at this property. Oh, that one, these are, did I put it in twice? Hang on a second, I'm sorry. Just trying to do it so I don't mess you guys up. Um,
Nick, I'm not seeing your screen.
I'm not sharing my screen.
Okay.
Thanks. We still got Jim's screen. I'm just putting something in the chat for you guys. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put the cities right now that we have the ability to, like if this deal was in, I'm putting it in the chat right now. If that deal was in one of these cities right here, we would be able to put a fee on it and and turn that over to a buyer, a hedge fund buyer that will buy this property with that debt and rev share the back end with the this model works great when there's a high amount of cash required. Because think about this for a sec. For most of us, for a sub two deal to be acquired, our entry fee has to be, for most of us, has to be 10%. Okay? Let's just use that as the number. Okay, that's how people are taught, and that's what they think. I don't look at it that way. I always let the software tell me. But what is your on this deal, Jim? What do you add on this one? The way it sits right now. Acquisition is how much? 60,000?
Yep.
And what is the price on it? Three what? 320, 310?
I think the total would be.
So you're at 20%. You're at 20%. Okay, so there's not many people that can make this deal work with a 20% entry fee. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. However, the way that we have it set up with the hedge fund, again, I don't want to get into details now because it's too much. Just if you guys got deals that fit one of these market or in one of these markets that is a sub 4.25% rate. Okay, if it's sub 4.25%, there's a high degree of probability we can make a deal work, depending on what rent values are. Okay, and purchase price. I mean, if it's $1 million house, not going to probably work. But if it's less than, if it's I'm just going to put it in the chat real quick here, in case somebody else is watching. If it's less than 4% on the rate and less than 500K, then we could probably make something work. Okay, we have a fighter's chance. Okay, and we can get the seller exactly what they're asking for because we're going to get them cashed out on their equity position, and then we're going to stay in the deal, and we're going to also let them get paid on the future valuation of the property. It's a sweet deal. They get paid twice. Again, I don't want to go into details. I need to show it to you and show you an exact deal. But for right now, if you guys get anything in any one of those markets I just shared with you that looks something like this or looks like the one I sent in Houston on City Lake, the City Lake fits here. It fits. The fund is, if I don't keep it, the fund will probably take it. Okay. If I go that way, I'll make a lot more money by keeping it. But you know what? I can't keep everything, right? And some people don't want the risk of doing these deals. So it's easier just knowing with knowledge you have power. With power, you can you have the ability to make these decisions. And look, throw a 5 spot on something like this and throw it over the fence and let them deal with it. I mean, that's what most people should be doing right now. Okay. And then when you get 10 deals under your belt and you made $5,000 on each deal, you got $50,000, then take the $50,000, Jim, and use your own $50,000 to do this deal. What I would do. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you're already sitting on a bunch of cash and you can deal with the smaller interest rate of the trillions of dollars that are sitting in IRAs, leverage it that way. But I don't, even though if you already have capital available and the model works, then use it. If you don't have capital, I would rather you guys spend your time just going and finding another deal until you have your own capital to do it. Because you'll make more money by just being a deal evaluator, right? Use the software to do it. It just makes more sense. And you'll be able to do more deals because the higher that interest rate is on the gap funding, the less deals that you'll be able to qualify. Okay, it'll get kicked out. So what I'm saying is that instead of getting 80%, 90% of the deals kicked out, hey, have only 50% of the deals kicked out, leave you another 30% of the deals to go make money. Because last time I heard, 20% of something's better than 100% of nothing, right? So if you've already done all the work and it already shows up, hey, it's okay to hit a single every now and then. It's okay to take a walk and get hit. You don't have to hit a home run every time, okay? Stop trying to hit home runs. You keep hitting singles and singles. Eventually, you get the pitch and you hit the damn thing out of the park, and that's fine too. Okay. There's a lot of money to be made by just hitting singles. Okay.
Yep.
If you put the system and the process in place, and the software allows you to help you facilitate that quickly with a high degree of probability based on the numbers that are spitting out. So this deal for me right here. If you have a good financial partner and they're okay with it, then maybe so. The good news is what you could do with this very easily. You already. This is why we ask questions. Where's the seller at? New York. Where's the
Yep.
property at? Florida.
Yep.
What is the house occupied? No, it's vacant. Could you get it? Could you put this under contract and start marketing the hell out of it for your wrap buyer? 100%. In fact, I would have already started marketing this the second that I had this thing left up. Go post it on, I wouldn't post an address. You know, who's looking for a house, owner occupied house in Davenport, Florida? DM me, I'll give you the details. I wouldn't like post this address, right?
Mhm.
I would start marketing. I would tell the seller, go, look, I think I may be able to solve this. Are you okay if I share this with my community? Well, the Facebook could be your community. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm not saying you lie to them. Just saying, just tell them what you're going to do.
Right.
You're a problem solver. So you solve the problem, get paid to do it. Most people are not going to have a problem doing it. If they are, then they can sit on the damn house and go find another one out. Okay.
Yep.
This is the math. Okay. Sellers have to be willing to help. If they're not willing to help solve the problem, then find another seller. Okay. It's like the Coast Guard. I talked about this before. You know, they ask the Coast Guard when you go out to, you know, save people that are stuck in the water. Okay. How do you determine who you help first? And the answer is who's ever trying to help themselves by swimming towards us first. They're not looking for, they're trying to save life. They're not trying they're not trying to figure out, hey, is that a, you know, 22-year-old female or a 77-year-old man? Okay, that's not, their job is to save as many people as they can. They want to find the people that are trying to help themselves. Sellers need to help themselves. Okay. If they become a problem, then if you, with education, then get rid of them. Okay. Don't try to put a square peg in a round hole. But I will tell you from doing this hundreds and hundreds of times, years of experience, that this seller is extremely motivated if
Yep.
you can present to them a solution to their problem. You already know it's vacant. You already know it's their second home. You already know that they're making a monthly mortgage payment and scratching a check every single month on this house. Every single month. This is a real estate problem for more than likely than a financial problem. Because it's second home, they're
Yep.
writing a check, stuff like that. All right. I
Mhm.
would have a call with them and say, let's see, I think I got an idea. I think I got some ideas. Do you have, are you okay if I show it to some of my buyers? And put it out to my community. I'm
Okay.
sure it's on a lockbox. If not, can you get a key? Can you get a lockbox? You just have to develop the rapport with them. And that's exactly what I would do with this. I would take this and I would say, let me see what I can come up and see if I can come up with somebody and get this off your chest. All
Great.
right.
Okay.
Does that help you out?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and stop sharing. Let me go to questions real quick. Then we're gonna wrap this up. Guys, make sure you jump on the call next for tomorrow. Let's see if there's any more in the chat. I think we already answered everything, but let's make sure here real quick. Yeah, I think we are caught up on the chat. I think impossible deal like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know, Francisco. I don't know who you're saying you sent the deal to. If it was Michael, it was me. I don't know. I get about 800 deals a week. So you guys got to be squeaky wheels. If you're not squeaky wheels, you're never going to get greased. Okay. You can't just assume that just because you send somebody a text, leave them a voicemail, send them a DM, whatever, that A, they receive it, and B, they, um, you know, respond. Okay. You can't do that. You have to be more proactive. Okay. So if you got a deal, get in there and keep reaching out. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings, but you know, I'm going to do it every 2 minutes, but do it as you need to do it. That's the whole point of it. Okay. So that's it. So, all right, we're gonna, anybody that's joining for the inner circle call, we're gonna go over to that shortly. Guys, make sure you go in the community, you look at the calendar, you put that stuff on. We change these things on occasion. Sometimes we try to schedule in advance, but things get in the way. So we try to give an advance notice, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. We try to do it consistently, but sometimes it just doesn't allow for it. Anyway, have a good one, guys, and I will probably put that together on our hedge fund program here. Um, I want to get my voice back because it's really hard for me to try to talk and cough and turn the mic off. But I will get that. We will get that on the calendar, if not this week, the first part of next week for sure. And you guys can start looking for deals in those markets, and we can start figuring out a way to monetize it. So, you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. If you have anything else, just communicate through the chat channel inside of school.